Worth it. I want to go to the audio sound bites now, and I want to preface our Obama Osawatomie speech sound bites with a little 2-minute excerpt of me, February 28, 2009, at the CPAC conference. This now historic speech that I gave. It's tough to pick just 2 minutes from it, but these are the 2 minutes in the speech where I warned everybody what Obama's project was.
President Obama, and take your pick of any Democrat, love to say, we've tried it your way, meaning Reaganism. We've tried it your way. We tried it your way in the 80s, it didn't work. We tried it your way last 8 years, it didn't work. Excuse me. When Obama talks about past economies, he somehow always leaves out the recession of the 80s was worse than this one. Why does he leave it out? Because, you know why he leaves it out? America leaves it out because we got out of that recession with tax cuts.
I told him to leave the applause in.
President Obama, in 6 weeks of his administration, has proposed more spending than from the founding of the country to his inauguration. Now, this is not prosperity. It is not going to engender prosperity. It's not going to create prosperity. And it is also not going to advance or promote freedom. It's going to be just the opposite. Future is not big government, self-serving politicians, powerful bureaucrats. This has been tried, tested throughout history. The result has always been disaster. President Obama, your agenda is not new, it's not change, and it's not hope. Spending.
Now you got, folks, I just want to remind you, that was February 2009. That's in fact, it was February 20th. So about 5 weeks after Obama had been inaugurated, and nobody was saying those things. In February of 2009, the stimulus had just been passed, and the Democrats, of course, were lauding Obama as the next great thing, never before seen anything like it. New, unique, love, unity, America loved again. The Republicans were cowering in fear in the corners. Nobody was saying that. Certainly not in national fora. Nobody was saying it. Certain Republican pollsters today would call that a personal attack on President Obama and would argue against it. In that little 2-minute excerpt, told the country what was ahead of us was not prosperity, not enhanced and increased liberty or freedom, but more misery. And who has been right and who has been wrong? Obama, the Democrats, have been as wrong as anybody in history. And I, El Rushbo, as right as anybody in history. And now that takes us to Osawatomie, Kansas, where President Obama began by telling people where he thought he was.
It is great to be back in the state of Texas. State of Kansas.
It's just one of the 57 states. It was a slip of the tongue. Doesn't mean much. But we move on with more sound bites. The brilliant intellectual Barack Obama blaming the internet for unemployment.
Over the last few decades, huge advances in technology have allowed businesses to do more with less. And it's made it easier for them to set up shop and hire workers anywhere they want in the world. If you were a bank teller or a phone operator or a travel agent, you saw many in your profession replaced by ATMs and the internet.
Oh, we're supposed to go back to that. We're supposed to go back to phone operators at switchboards and people with patch cords patching phone calls together. You're not supposed to be able to make a phone call without going through an operator. You're not supposed to be able to find a number on it. You're supposed to have to call information to get a phone number, spend 30 seconds or 40 seconds or a minute and a half on hold waiting for somebody to look up a number for you. How many jobs, how much wealth have computers and the internet given us? Apple, Cisco, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, eBay, Amazon, Netflix. I mean, on and on. How many jobs, how much wealth, how much prosperity, how much technological leadership has occurred in the world via the United States and the internet? Here's Barack Obama, who wants to roll it back. He's blaming it. Because phone operators and bank tellers lost their... Last time I went to the bank, there were tellers in there. As a side note, I have a piece here today from McKinsey.com, management consultancy firm. The internet is a vast mosaic of economic activity ranging from millions of daily online transactions and communications to smartphone downloads of television shows. But little is known about how the web in its entirety contributes to global growth and productivity and employment. New McKinsey research into the internet economies of the G8 nations, as well as Brazil and China, India, South Korea, Sweden, finds the web accounts for a significant and growing portion of worldwide gross domestic product. Indeed, if measured as a sector, internet-related consumption and expenditure is now bigger than agriculture or energy. And the President of the United States, in his glory, in his wailing ignorance, defiles it. In a speech to middle-class people, holding out himself as hope. On average, the internet contributes 3.4% of GDP in the 13 countries covered by the research. That's an amount the size of Spain or Canada in terms of GDP. It is growing, internet GDP growing at a faster rate than that of Brazil, a country. And a president who everybody says is among the smartest people in the world spends time yesterday ripping it to shreds and blaming it for taking people backwards economically. This is breathtaking, maddening, infuriating, and it's also frightening that somebody this dumb has been elected.